Welcome to the official 2018 Banjo Quest Banjo Players Gift Buying Guide or something like that. I still haven't found a good title for this thing, but I want to help you guys who are family members and friends of banjo players. I want to help you find gifts this holiday season for your favorite banjo player. If you have a banjo player in your life, you may be thinking, dear God, why me? The last thing I want to do is encourage this person to keep playing the banjo. But let me just tell you, it could be worse. You could have a fiddler in your life, so consider yourself fortunate. So with the start of the holiday season, I've decided to put together a gift buying guide for those friends and family of banjo players to help encourage their further alienation from polite society. So right off the bat, I'm not trying to sell anything here. I have no affiliation to any of these companies. This is a 100% independent list of some of the products I've been using over the course of the last year and beyond to help my students get better at the instrument. So we're going to start with some really inexpensive items, stuff that is affordable for everybody. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to name the 2018 Banjo Quest Best Banjos of the Year Award. These are two production instruments that I have been recommending to my students who are looking for their first banjo or looking for their next banjo. The first thing on the list, which is about $4 to $5 a pop, are these strings. I love these Bill Keith strings. They're medium light combination. You can get them steel wound or phosphor bronze. It really doesn't matter. I use them for all of my steel strung banjos. I don't use anything else because I've tried everything else, and these so far are my favorite strings. The added benefit of these strings is that they are wrapped with a little chenille thing on the end near the loop. Supposedly this cuts down on unwanted noise and that tinkly sound on the other side of the bridge. I don't think it really does much. Well, I just think they look really cool and classy on a banjo. I like to have my students not staring at phones and screens all the time, but there is a lot of great information out there and a lot of great tools that are necessary for learning these days. And so I want to recommend an app. This app is called IntsTuner. And the nice thing about this app is that it actually plays test tones. So instead of just looking at a needle on a gauge to tune your banjo, you can actually hit the actual pitches. Your phone will play the pitches and you can match your pitches by ear to the app. I think ear training is really critical for any musician, and this is a nice way to kill two birds with one stone. Get your banjo tuned and get used to hearing certain pitches. The next thing on my list is a bit of a surprise because I don't usually use picks, but I've come to really value the Kling Pro pick. I did a review on it a couple months ago, and I think this is a really cool product for those banjo players out there who can't grow nails for physiological reasons or professional reasons. This is a really nice solution. I actually keep a couple in my case now, just as a cheap insurance policy in case I break my nail. I can quickly throw one of these picks on and be up and running, and it sounds pretty close to my natural nail. And these are about $10 a pop. Now they do come in different sizes, so be sure to check with Gus at Kling Pro Pick. He'll be able to recommend a size that fits your banjo player's finger. At the $20 mark, this is my go-to recommendation for most students who want to improve the tone of their instrument, and that is a Gary Sotheby bridge. I was very skeptical when I first started playing banjo about products that would supposedly help improve my tone. I approached these products very skeptically, and I think you should too. But one of the things I found over the course of my time playing and teaching the instrument is that bridges really do matter. They can really transform the tone of an instrument. So if you're looking to try new tones out, if you want to increase your action just a little bit, or if you have some sitar-y buzzes in your current bridge, these Gary Sotheby bridges are my go-to recommendation across the board. They come in a flat shape. Gary also makes them in a compensated shape, and they're around $20 to $25 each. They're such a cheap way to improve the tone of your instrument. Slip one of these in a stocking and you will make your banjo player happy. Of course, you need to make sure you get the right size. So you need to either ask your favorite banjo player what size bridge they need, or you need to very sneakily measure the height of their banjo bridge. It's really difficult these days to give music. It used to be in the old days. When I was growing up, we listened to records and tapes, so giving physical music it was easy to do. Nowadays with streaming services, it's increasingly more difficult because everybody has access to everything. Well, if you have a banjo player in your life, they should be listening to old recordings. And I encourage you to check out the Field Recorders Collective. They've got gift cards, so you could give your favorite banjo player a $15 to $100 gift card to spend at Field Recorders Collective. I rarely listen to modern recordings these days. I'm really kind of stuck in the past, and I love listening to these old relics. The next gift I'd like to recommend to your favorite banjo player is an Elliot Capo. These capos are amazing. I was very skeptical, just like I was with bridges, but when I tried my first Elliot Capo, I was completely sold. They're really small, they stay on the banjo, so you always have it with you. And I found that the Elliot Capo affects my tone the least out of all the capos I've tried. They're handmade, they are works of art, they're well worth the $140 price tag. I know that seems like a lot for a capo, but they really are worth it, and they've become a pro musician staple in the pro music market. So they are tried and true, road tested, and ready for a lifetime of service. I highly recommend Elliot Capos. Your banjo player should be recording themselves frequently, if not obsessively, so they can get a bird's eye perspective on their own sound and their own playing. I really like the Zoom H4n Pro for this kind of thing. The sound quality is surprisingly good. You can really get professional sounds out of this device. And for $200, I think it's a really good option for those players out there who want to step up their recording game. You can also take a Zoom to a jam session or a lesson or a clinic and have a record of those kind of events so that you can go back and listen to them later. It's a really great tool that every musician should have. If your banjo player is obsessed with audio and recording like I am, they will be eventually looking for a standalone microphone to capture their instrument with the best possible fidelity. And one of the nicest microphones I've used on clawhammer banjo is the Josephson C42. It's a small pencil condenser. It does need phantom power and XLR, so if you don't know what that stuff is, you need to do your research and make sure your banjo player has the ability to turn the signal into a digital signal. I love these microphones, and when a student asks me what mic to get to record themselves and they're looking for a really high quality recording, I always recommend the Josephson C42. All right, so last two things are my two banjos of the year. Now I'm picking two because I want to give two different price points for these instruments. They're not cheap, but quality comes at a price, and right now I firmly believe we are living in an era where the best banjos that have ever been made are being made right now. So I've chosen two banjos this year, and the first one, and one of my favorite all-time banjos that I recommend to every student who asks me what banjo they should get, is the Enoch Tradesman. Now, I've owned a couple Tradesmen. I have several students all over the world who have Tradesmen, so I don't have one right now, but one of my main instruments is a custom Enoch, and this is the primary instrument that is featured on the Sinful to Flirt album. And the same quality and attention to detail goes into the Tradesmen. I get to see Tradesmens all the time for students bringing them into the studio and online during online lessons, and they always impress me with their tone and playability. They're at the $1,350 mark, new, and I think that is a bargain. I really believe Kevin Enoch is one of the great makers of all time, so I'm happy to recommend his banjos. Now the second banjo comes in at a higher price point. I went into the Music Emporium a couple weeks ago, and I was looking for another fretted instrument because currently I only have one fretted banjo. I have a bunch of fretlesses, but I only have one, and I wanted to have a second fretted banjo so I could use it to demo different setups and also to lend to students who fly in from out of town to take lessons with me who come here without a banjo. So I got to play about 15 to 18 different banjos of all different makes, all different styles, all different tone rings, and there was one clear standout, and that is the Ohm Tupelo. I was completely taken aback by this instrument. I usually play banjos that have tone rings because I value clarity and bell-like tone and volume. And this banjo, even though it has a wood tone rim, it was staggering to play it for the first time. What I love about Ohm is not only their tone, but the fact that they make thin necks with jumbo frets. So this feels a lot like a Telecaster or a Stratocaster. It's got a very modern feel. And I love this because of the ease of play. I feel like I can be very delicate and fast with my left hand. And if you have small hands, it's another reason to consider ohm. The necks are very shallow and flat, and that is easy for small hands to handle. So I had gone to the Music Emporium with the idea that I would not get an ohm because I already own one and I wanted something different. But after playing everything they had, this is the instrument that spoke to me regardless of the brand name. So I walked out with a brand new ohm Tupelo. I paid full retail and I paid it happily. It is part of my stable now in the studio, and it is such a beautiful and easy instrument to play. So this concludes the 2018 Banjo Lovers Buyer's Guide or something. I'm still working on a title, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great holiday season, and I will see you next week as we resume the Old Time Jam Survival Guide in part 2. You can also get more of this material over at patreon.com. I'm leaving a link below. If you want to join the Banjo Quest community over there, we're having a great time and you get double the content. So it's a really good deal. All right. I hope you do have a great holiday season, and I will see you next Friday on Banjo Quest.